The grand hall fell silent as the billionaire Sheikh's voice cracked like thunder. "Is that all you have to offer?" His gaze, sharp and unyielding, swept across the small figure before him. In that instant, he was a king, holding court, his arrogance a fortress around him, untouchable and absolute. No one dared challenge his command. Not until the delivery girl dared cross his path. The palace gleamed under the Middle Eastern sun, its walls adorned with gold filigree and walls studded with sapphires that caught the light like stars trapped in stone. The scent of jasmine and exotic spices hovered in the air, mingling with the delicate smoke of frankincense burning in crystal bowls. Beyond the sprawling marble floors, the vast desert stretched endlessly, a sea of golden dunes, silenced beneath the fading glow of dusk. Within this oasis of opulence, the Sheikh stood tall, draped in silks the color of midnight and gold, his presence commanding. Yet beneath the veneer of effortless power, a restless shadow played across his gaze, a hint of torment lurking beneath the arrogance. His world was one of wealth and control, yet it chafed against desires he no longer wished to acknowledge. The delivery girl stepped forward, her hands shaking slightly as she clutched the worn parcel tightly. Her clothes were simple, dusted with the desert's dry embrace, and the faint scent of cardamom lingered on her skin, a small defiance of grace amid hardship. Calmness radiated from her, despite her humble origin. Where others expected meekness, she bore a quiet courage that unsettled the Sheikh more than she realized. He smirked, voice dripping in disdain. "Do you really think a girl like you belongs in my presence, delivering trivial scraps to a man of my stature?" His words jabbed like poisoned darts, meant to wound and dismiss. She met his eyes, steady as a desert star. "I deliver what is needed, not what pleases. Sometimes the smallest things carry the greatest value." Her tone was gentle but unyielding, an unseen strength that piqued his curiosity. The air between them crackled, a dangerous dance of silent challenges and veiled contempt. His lips twitched, as if fighting a smile he refused to grant. For all his power, her simple honesty chipped away at the walls he had built, a reminder that beneath the riches and titles, he was vulnerable. "What is it about you that dares to endure my scorn?" he muttered, more to himself than to her. The delivery girl's composed gaze was a mirror, reflecting a part of himself he long denied. Suddenly, as she turned to leave, a swift movement, a flash of determination in her eyes, and she whispered, "If you're so smart, translate it." The words hung between them like a gauntlet thrown, an invitation to unravel mysteries neither expected. A flicker of unease crossed the Sheikh's face. Was it a challenge, or a secret hidden behind her defiance? Whatever it was, it unsettled the unshakable fortress of his pride. Before the door closed behind her, the promise of something deeper ignited in the silent spaces between them. A revelation was coming, one that might shatter the illusions of power and pride that defined his world. And before the next secret of this opulent empire unfolds, make sure you're part of our caravan of tales. Many destinies are yet to be written, and I don't want you to miss a single moment. Leave a like if the heart of this billionaire sheikh already intrigues you. Tell me in the comments, which city are you watching this saga from? And what twist do you think is coming next? Your passion for these dramas is what inspires us to continue. Thank you for being with us. The delivery girl's figure receded slowly toward the grand archway, her silhouette framed by the fading hues of dusk. Yet the echo of her whispered challenge, "If you are so smart, translate it," lingered in the charged air, a spark igniting something unexpected within the billionaire sheikh's fortress of pride. The heavy doors groaned shut, muffling the distant footsteps that carried her away, but inside the vast hall, the sheikh remained frozen, his gaze fixed on the spot where defiance had walked. The weight of silence pressed upon him, mingling with the thick scent of sandalwood and the subtle bitterness of unspoken truths. He stepped forward, each movement deliberate, silk whispering against marble. The parcel, worn and unassuming in its delicate simplicity, still rested on the marble pedestal where she had placed it. His fingers brushed its rough surface, hesitant for the first time in years to disturb such a fragile thing. The world beyond the palace walls might see him as untouchable, a ruler cloaked in gold and power. Yet here, in the shadowed glow of evening, uncertainty crawled beneath his skin like the desert's chill at twilight, unsettling the foundation of his command. The sheikh's lips parted in a silent curse that dissolved into a rumbling murmur. "What secrets do you carry, girl?" His voice softened, revealing a thread of vulnerability hidden beneath the usual storm of arrogance. The memory of her eyes, steadfast and unwavering, haunted him. Those eyes had pierced armor forged by betrayal and ambition. In them, he glimpsed a reflection of his own desolation, a mirror to the loneliness that no treasure could fill. Minutes passed, stolen by the oppressive stillness, until a loyal attendant entered hesitantly, bowing low. "My sheikh, preparations for tonight's gala are complete. Guests await your command." The sheikh straightened, the mask reinstated like a second skin. "Very well," he commanded, though his thoughts wrestled with the puzzle she left behind. The gala, a spectacle of opulence and politics, would require every ounce of his strength to navigate. But the parcel felt like a silent seed, poised to grow in the depths of his mind. As he moved toward the gilded staircase, the soft patter of approaching footsteps stirred the air. His trusted advisor, Farid, emerged from the shadows, his eyes sharp and wary. "The girl from the East Delivery? She left quickly," Farid reported, voice edged with suspicion. "And she dared to challenge you, my sheikh?" A wry smile tugged at the corner of the sheikh's mouth, though it vanished beneath the weight of a darkening frown. "More than challenge, she offers a riddle wrapped in defiance. The parcel, there is more to it than it seems." Farid's gaze darted toward the ornate box resting in the center of the hall, curiosity mingling with caution. "Shall I have it examined?" "No," the sheikh said abruptly. "For now it must remain untouched. This mystery is hers and hers alone to reveal." His hand hovered momentarily over the parcel, tremors barely perceptible in the quiet tension of the room. Farid stepped closer, lowering his voice. "There are whispers in the city, my Sheikh. Enemies probing your walls, seeking your cracks. The gala will draw them in." The Sheikh's silhouette stiffened. "I am no stranger to shadows, Farid. But this girl, her presence unsettles me more than any spy." Farid's brows knit. "You intend to keep her near? That risks distraction." "Perhaps," the Sheikh admitted, voice colder now. "Or perhaps it is time for the fortress walls to feel the tremors of change." Later, as twilight deepened, the palace shimmered with lanterns casting dancing gold. Across exquisite tapestries, guests in silks and jewels murmured, their laughter a fragile veil over ambitions sharpened like blades beneath every smile. Among the crowd, the Sheikh stood regal, his gaze sweeping the room with practiced detachment. But his thoughts were elsewhere, haunted by the simplicity of that delivery girl's words, the quiet strength that refused to bow. Then, from the corner shadows, a whispered voice brushed the air. "We heard about the parcel, my Sheikh." He turned sharply to find Layla, a courtier known for weaving gossip, thinner than spiderwebs, and yet sharper than daggers. Her eyes glittered with a mixture of mischief and warning. "You must tread carefully," she murmured, stepping closer. "Such disruptions in your perfectly ordered world, they breed danger." The Sheikh's eyes narrowed. "And yet," he countered, "the greatest dangers often arise from those deemed insignificant." Layla smiled, a hint of intrigue replacing her usual sardonic air. "Indeed, my Sheikh, perhaps this delivery girl holds more power than any of us imagined." Her words stirred an unsettling thought deep within him. Power hidden beneath dust and simplicity. Secrets buried beneath a veil of quiet courage. As the evening wore on, the Sheikh retreated to his private quarters, a sanctuary rich with silks and ancient relics, yet sterile in its solitude. He sat beside the low table where the parcel lay, its presence a silent accusation against the emptiness he had cultivated around him. His fingers traced the intricate stitching on the fabric covering the parcel. Inside, he knew, was a secret waiting to unravel the carefully constructed walls of his life. But the moment to reveal, it was not yet. Patience was a weapon he wielded as deftly as his empire. A sudden sound at the window drew his attention. The night breeze carried a faint whisper of jasmine and cardamom, the girl's scent, a reminder that her shadow lingered still, unyielding. Then, unexpectedly, as if summoned by his own restless thoughts, a folded note slipped through the cracks of the ornate window frame, fluttering onto the marble floor. He bent down, eyes briefly scanning the delicate script written in a language both foreign and familiar. His pulse quickened with a mixture of dread and anticipation. The note read, "Not everything is as it seems. To understand, you must look beyond the gold, into the heart of the desert's silence." A chill coursed through him. The promise of revelation draped in mystery. He crushed the note slowly in his fist, a storm raging behind his calm facade. The roar of power and wealth had met its first true test, and for the first time, the billionaire Sheikh felt the tremors of a future uncharted and dangerous. Outside, the desert stretched vast and dark, secrets buried beneath endless dunes, waiting. And somewhere beyond the palace walls, the delivery girl moved with purpose, her own fate now entwined irrevocably with his. The game had only just begun. The billionaire Sheikh stood motionless, the crushed note clenched tightly in his palm, the words burning like embers against his skin. Not everything is as it seems. To understand, you must look beyond the gold, into the heart of the desert's silence. Those cryptic lines echoed with a resonance he could neither ignore nor fully comprehend. A puzzle wrapped in shadows, daring him to unravel truths buried deeper than the desert sands themselves. He paced the marble floor, his silken robes whispering secrets with each measured step. The vastness of his palace suddenly felt smaller, its gilded walls like a cage built not of gold, but of hidden fears and unspoken desires. The delivery girl's defiance had breached his fortress of pride, a place where no one had ventured in years. And now, with night's velvet cloak draped over the sands outside, the flicker of vulnerability he fought so hard to suppress shimmered to the surface. Memories of her unwavering gaze replayed in his mind, those eyes that refused to bow, that met his arrogance with a steady flame of silent challenge. A dangerous mix of irritation and something unfamiliar stirred within him. Curiosity. How could someone so modest, dusted with the desert's hardship, unsettle a man like him, accustomed to commanding entire kingdoms with a single glance? The soft knock at the door snapped him back. Farid entered cautiously, his expression carved with concern and calculation. "My sheikh, the gala is in full swing," Farid reported, eyes flickering toward the parcel now abandoned on the ornate table. "The guests are eager, but word has spread of this delivery. Whispers are weaving through the palace like wildfire." The sheikh narrowed his eyes. "Let them whisper. This is no ordinary delivery." His voice was low, carrying the weight of a man wrestling with a secret he had yet to fully grasp. Farid hesitated. "May I suggest the parcel be examined discreetly, my lord? There may be clues to this riddle the girl spoke of." "No," the sheikh answered without hesitation. "For now, it remains untouched. Her secrets are hers alone, and I will not be rushed." A fragile command that betrayed uncertainty. The corridor outside buzzed faintly with laughter and the clinking of wine glasses. His guests reveled in opulence, unaware that a storm brewed silently within their own walls. As the evening unfolded, the billionaire sheikh donned the mask of regal indifference. Draped in midnight silk, threaded with gold, he greeted nobles and dignitaries, every gesture precise, every smile measured. Yet beneath the veneer, his thoughts danced incessantly around that worn parcel and the delivery girl who had vanished as swiftly as a desert mirage. Lila's presence was as inevitable as the desert wind. She approached with the grace of a predator, masked in silks, her eyes alight with undisguised intrigue. "We all speak of the mysterious parcel, my sheikh," she purred. "Rumors weave webs thicker than any rug in your grand halls. This girl, she is a tempest disguised as a harmless breeze." The sheikh's lips curled into a thin smile. "And what do you believe, Layla?" His tone was laden with equal parts curiosity and weary command. "That she is a threat to the order you cherish," Layla replied softly. "But also a key, danger and salvation wrapped in cardamom-scented defiance. He held her gaze, the silent challenge passing between them, sharper than any dagger. Later, retreating to the solitude of his private chamber, the Sheikh allowed himself a rare moment without his public mask. Moonlight seeped through tall windows, pooling on the silk carpets and casting silver shadows on relics from ages past. The parcel remained unopened beside him, an enigma pressing on his soul. He unfolded the fabric carefully, revealing a small, intricately carved box, its surface etched with symbols that stirred a memory long buried but never forgotten. His fingertips traced the delicate inscriptions, each groove whispering tales of forgotten love and betrayal, of oaths sworn in silence beneath endless stars. A sudden draft brushed against his skin, carrying the faintest hint of jasmine and cardamom, the delivery girl's scent. It was as if she lingered there, a ghost haunting his sanctuary of solitude. The ticking of an ancient clock marked the passage of time, dragging the Sheikh into a spiral of reflection. Could this parcel truly be the key to the shadowed corridors of his past? A past he had buried beneath layers of gold and authority to escape a pain he dared never reveal? His reverie shattered as his phone vibrated sharply. A message, concise and chilling. Beware those who smile behind masks. The desert's silence hides more than secrets. It conceals those who plot your fall. His jaw clenched. The web tightened, drawing him deeper into a dangerous game where trust was a luxury he could ill afford. Farid's voice echoed softly from the antechamber. "My Sheikh, there is a visitor waiting, a man claiming knowledge of your past, a past you have tried to forget." Tension coiled like a serpent in his chest. Every instinct screamed caution, yet an unrelenting hunger for answers gnawed at him. Perhaps the delivery girl was the opening crack of a fortress about to crumble, revealing the fragile man beneath the crown. He nodded slowly. "Bring him to me." As the door creaked open, a silhouette stepped into the room, a figure cloaked in desert robes, eyes sharp and wary, yet gleaming with a familiarity that made the Sheikh's heart thrash against the cage of his ribs. It is not merely a delivery. It is a warning, a legacy left for those who dare to listen. The Sheikh's breath hitched. His kingdom, his pride, and his carefully guarded secrets suddenly felt as fragile as the desert glass beneath a scorching sun. This was no longer just a game of power and wealth. It was unraveling. And as the desert night deepened, the billionaire Sheikh realized that the greatest battle would not be fought in grand halls or beneath shimmering chandeliers, but within the very chambers of his heart, where love, betrayal, and destiny collided with ruthless force. He looked into the visitor's eyes, searching for the truth that might shatter or save him. "Tell me everything," he commanded, the thunderous king humbled by the storm of secrets about to break. Outside, unseen by any but the stars, the shifting sands whispered promises of upheaval, an ancient force awakening beneath the opulence of gold and silk. The stage was set, and the journey into the heart of the desert's silence had only just begun. The first light of dawn seeped through the stained glass windows of the grand hall, casting fractured rainbows upon the marble floor, where the parcel still rested untouched. The stillness was broken only by the soft rustle of silk robes, as the billionaire Sheikh paced with the weight of sleepless nights pressing upon him. His fingers traced absent-mindedly the edge of the delicate carved box revealed the night before. The inscriptions remained an enigma, as elusive as the delivery girl herself, her boldness a whisper haunting the corridors of his mind. Every moment since their encounter, her challenge echoed. "If you're so smart, translate it." He clenched his jaw, refusing to admit how deeply her defiance had unsettled him. Yet beneath the armor of arrogance lay a tempest of uncertainty. Why had a simple delivery girl, cloaked in dust and simplicity, pierced his fortress so effectively? Farid entered quietly, his steps measured but filled with urgency. "My Sheikh, whispers have grown into murmurs. The nobles grow restless, and rumors of the parcel's secret entwine with talk of your past, old wounds your enemies seek to exploit." The Sheikh's gaze sharpened, dark as desert nights. Enemies can probe walls all they want. Let them find only sand where there should be stone. Yet his voice betrayed a thread of doubt, a rare fissure in his steadfast facade. Farid hesitated, lowering his voice. "There is word of a stranger arriving this evening, a man who claims knowledge of your bloodline, someone who may shed light on the parcel's meaning." A flicker of something raw, hope, fear, weariness, crossed the Sheikh's eyes. "Bring him." His command was quiet, but resolute. The day surrendered to dusk, and the palace came alive in shimmering candlelight that flickered. Like distant stars, the guests, draped in silks and jewels, played their roles of whispered alliances and veiled threats. Yet the Sheikh moved through the crowd like a shadow, his mind tethered to the parcel, to the delivery girl's piercing gaze, and now to the promise of revelation from this mysterious visitor. In a secluded chamber, the door creaked open, and a solitary figure stepped inside, robed in muted earth tones. Eyes sharp with the weight of knowledge carried across endless deserts. "My Sheikh," the stranger began, voice gravelly yet purposeful. "The parcel you possess is a legacy from a forgotten line. Your blood holds secrets to power and betrayal, older than the sands themselves." The Sheikh's pulse quickened as the stranger produced a faded scroll, its parchment worn but inscribed with symbols matching. "Those on the box. Within lies a map and a warning," the man continued, "crafted by your ancestors to guard a truth that once unearthed could change the fate of this empire and your place within it." A heavy silence fell, punctuated only by the distant call to prayer weaving through the night air. The Sheikh stared at the scroll, the weight of destiny settling upon his shoulders. "What truth?" he demanded, voice low but edged with urgency. The visitor's eyes met his, steady and unwavering. "That not all who claim bloodline are heirs in heart. Betrayal runs deep, my Sheikh. The parcel's secret holds the key to uncovering those who wear loyalty as a mask, and those who seek to see you fall." A tempest of emotion surged within him, anger at the thought of betrayal, fear for his empire's fragile hold, and beneath it all, a reluctant spark of hope ignited by the delivery girl's quiet strength. Suddenly, the palace trembled, Not from Earth, but a distant explosion ripping through the night. The tranquility shattered as alarms cried into the desert silence. Farid burst into the chamber, eyes wild with alarm. "My Sheikh, the gala is under attack. Saboteurs have breached the outer defenses. It seems the shadows from your past have come to claim their debt." The Sheikh's breath caught, yet his hands steadied as resolve hardened his spine. "Gather the guards," he commanded. "This night will not be the end of my reign." Yet even as he strode toward the hall, a final thought clawed at his mind. The delivery girl's words, the parcel's secrets, and the visitor's warning. The greatest threat was not the enemy at the gates, but the one hidden within the walls he trusted. His eyes burned with fierce determination, and something new, a fragile vulnerability as he whispered to himself, "To protect what I love, I must face the silence in my own heart first." As the palace doors slammed open to the storm of chaos outside, the silhouette of a lone figure slipped quietly through a hidden corridor. The delivery girl, her expression unreadable, clutching another parcel pressed close to her chest. In the shadowed maze beneath the shining palace, secrets stirred and destinies converged. And as the desert wind carried the cries of battle, the billionaire Sheikh's world began to unravel, each thread pulling him closer to a truth buried beneath gold, lies, and the fragile hearts that dared to defy him. The night air hung heavy with smoke and jasmine, as the explosion's echoes still trembled through the marble halls of the palace. The guests' murmurs had turned to frantic whispers, and cloaked figures darted between pillars and shadows. The opulent gala, the symbol of power and stability, was fractured, a fragile veneer now cracked. The billionaire Sheikh moved with the grace of a predator, every muscle taut under the midnight silk of his robe. His dark eyes burned with unyielding resolve as he barked orders. The voice that once commanded with cold certainty, now laced with fierce urgency. "Seal the gates," he commanded, voice like thunder rolling over marble. "No one enters or leaves without my say." Farid's voice cut through the tension, urgent and cautious. "My Sheikh, the intruders know this place well. Their precision suggests inside collaboration." The sharp sting of betrayal burned anew, sharper than the desert's relentless sun. The Sheikh's jaw clenched as his gaze hardened, flicking towards the hidden corridors, where shadows played tricks on even the most vigilant eyes. His fortress was breached, not just outside, but within, and the delivery girl's warning echoed louder than ever in his mind. He turned sharply, eyes meeting Farid's, a spark of something raw and vulnerable flickering beneath the surface of his iron will. "This betrayal, it is closer than I dared imagine," he hissed. The palace trembled again, this time with the shouts of guards clashing with unseen invaders. Yet amid the chaos, the Sheikh's mind whirled, not on the battle descending around him, but on the parcel. That worn box, veiled in mystery and wrapped in defiance. He strode toward the ornate table where it had been left untouched, every step measured, every breath a silent storm roiling beneath silk and gold. His fingers hovered, trembling just enough to betray his inner tempest. Farid followed, voice low and urgent. "My Sheikh, you must see this through carefully. The parcel and the girl are tied to secrets that could unravel all we know." The Sheikh's gaze snapped to Farid, fierce and flickering with something bitterly like hope. "Bring her to me," he commanded. No one had ever dared speak those words before, not about a delivery girl who was, by all appearances, inconsequential. Yet tonight, everything had shifted. The servants hurried to obey, whispers snaking through the halls like tendrils of smoke. The delivery girl, her silhouette delicate yet resolute, was summoned. Her eyes met his across the vast and glittering hall, their silent challenge, now a binding bond neither could deny. "I did not come to play games," she said softly, voice steady, but charged with quiet power. "The parcel is but a piece of what you must understand. There are forces at work beneath your feet. The old bloodline's curse, the forgotten betrayals, the whispers of those who would see your kingdom fall." The Sheikh studied her, his mind a battlefield of suspicion and curiosity. The defiant beauty was more than a messenger. She was a key. "Why reveal this to me?" he demanded, trying to mask the tremor of vulnerability beneath command. "Because," she whispered, stepping closer, "I trust you to see beyond gold and power, to see the man who hides behind the throne." Her words seared through his facade, carving out a hollow where pride once reigned absolute. A sudden silence descended, heavy and suffocating. The distant clamor of battle dimmed as the two figures stood locked. A king stripped bare by the truth in a delivery girl's eyes. "Then show me," he said finally, voice cracked but resolute. "Show me what lies beneath the desert's silence." She reached into the folds of her simple cloak, producing a thin, leather-bound journal, its edges worn from time and travel. Opening it carefully, she revealed pages filled with cryptic symbols, maps, and fragmentary stories written in ancient script. "The parcel was only the beginning," she explained. "This journal belonged to your grandfather, a man who knew the dangers lurking in your blood. He left clues, warnings, and a path to survival." The Sheikh's hands trembled as he traced a faded map. His heart thudded with a reckless hope and a dawning fear. The empire he thought invincible was delicately balanced on secrets older than the desert itself. "Enemies at the gates are nothing compared to the war you face within," she said quietly. He swallowed hard, the weight of generations pressing down, mingled with the potent, intoxicating scent of cardamom and jasmine that seemed forever tied to this mysterious woman. Just then, a sudden crash shattered the fragile stillness. The palace's defenses breached once more. The distant wail of alarms grew urgent, the threat near and unrelenting. The Sheikh's gaze darkened, fierce with newfound purpose. "Prepare the guards," he ordered. "Tonight, we fight not just for a kingdom, but for the truth buried beneath a legacy of lies." The delivery girl's eyes flickered with an equality rarely afforded to anyone in his world. "As long as you stand willing, my Sheikh," she said, voice steady, "there is hope." He reached out, a sudden, unexpected gesture, his fingers brushing hers, a spark igniting between them. In that fleeting touch lay a promise of alliance, trust, and a connection powerful enough to shatter walls built by fear and pride. But even as that bond forged silently, a shadow moved unseen through the palace corridors. A figure cloaked in betrayal, eyes gleaming with cold ambition. And before the dawn could break the suffocating night, a whisper echoed through the dark halls. The true enemy is not at your gates. It is one you hold closest to your heart. The Sheikh's breath caught. His fortress, his family, his very soul, all poised on the razor's edge of revelation. The desert held its secrets still, but soon, even the endless sands could not hide the coming storm. The clamor of the besieged palace buzzed faintly in the distant halls, muffled by layers of marble and gold. But the grand hall stood as the eye of the storm, still and charged, heavy with the weight of silence after the chaos. The billionaire Sheikh's gaze remained locked on the fragile leather-bound journal, resting in his hands, its edges frayed, yet imbued with secrets older than the desert sands. Moonlight spilled softly through intricate latticework, casting fragmented patterns across the polished floor. The faint scent of jasmine lingered, mingling with the subtle warmth of sandalwood, a ghostly reminder of the delivery girl's presence that haunted the vast space like a whispered promise. His eyes flicked over the cryptic symbols and faded ink, each mark a thread to a tangled lineage he had tried desperately to forget. The stories written here spoke of betrayal, not only by enemies beyond the desert, but by blood sworn as kin. A legacy poisoning the roots of his empire with shadows and doubt. He pressed his palm against his chest, the steady thrum of his heartbeat, threatening to betray the composed facade. The regal armor of midnight and gold felt suddenly stifling, as if the weight of centuries pressed into his very bones. A soft step interrupted the stillness. She emerged from the shadows, her silhouette slender, cloaked in modest fabric, but framed by the gleam of candlelight that flickered like fragile hope. Her eyes, dark and unwavering, met his without hesitation. "I brought you the truth you avoided," she said quietly. "The journal only begins to unravel the ties that bind us. Your ancestors hid more than maps and warnings. They buried the sins that still poison your reign." He studied her, the faintest tremor of vulnerability surfacing in his gaze. Why come now? Why risk the wrath of a sheikh who commands more than kingdoms? She stepped closer, the subtle cardamom scent brushing the space between them like a secret. "Because even a fortress built of gold can be shaken by a single grain of sand," she whispered. His lips curved into a sardonic smile, but the fire deep within him burned brighter now, ignited by a mix of frustration, curiosity, and something dangerously close to trust. "The gala is over. The palace still aches from the attack. And yet you return." "Because the storm is not over," she answered, voice steady. "There is a traitor within these walls, someone who walks beside you, wearing loyalty as a mask. The parcel, the journal, they are pieces of a puzzle meant to expose that betrayal." He clenched his jaws, muscles taut with unspoken rage. "Trust is a luxury I can ill afford," he said, voice thick with bitter resolve. She nodded, acknowledging the truth in his words. "Then you must learn to see with eyes unclouded by gold and pride." The chamber seemed to shrink around them as the reality settled. Ancient secrets, family bloodlines stained by treachery, and a future as uncertain as shifting dunes under a merciless sun. Suddenly, a muffled sound from beyond the door shattered the fragile calm, a hurried whisper, The shuffle of hurried footsteps. Farid appeared, his face grave but controlled. "My Sheikh, the traitor has made a move. The eastern wing of the palace, set ablaze. Those who suspect you rally under shadows, disguised by veils of friendship." The Sheikh's dark eyes narrowed, a fierce storm rising within them. Weakness invites destruction. He rose, regal and deadly, every inch the ruler born to command. "Prepare the guards. No one leaves or enters without my permission. I will find this serpent in my garden, and I will crush it." The delivery girl's gaze held his, steady and unyielding. "Your enemies wear many faces," she said softly, "but your greatest threat is closer than you think." He swallowed hard, the words threading through his mind like poison and promise intertwined. "Then, we hunt in shadows," he declared. A sudden breeze swept through the open windows, stirring the curtains, carrying with it the faintest hint of jasmine and the thrill of impending storm. He hesitated a single breath, then reached out, brushing a lock of hair away from her face, the touch fleeting, but charged with the weight of a bond forged not in luxury, but in shared defiance. "Whatever comes," he murmured, "we face it together." Her eyes glimmered with resolute fire. Together, beyond the walls, the desert lay vast and unyielding, the dunes whispering ancient curses beneath a star-pierced sky. The sands had witnessed empires rise and fall, loved and betrayed. Tonight, as flames clawed at the eastern wing, and whispers of treachery echoed through gilded halls, the fate of the Sheikh's empire and his heart balanced on the razor's edge of revelation. And in the hushed silence before dawn, a shadow moved unseen, a silent smile curling at lips meant only for betrayal. The true war was only beginning, and it was one he might not survive. The flickering flames devoured the eastern wing of the palace, shadows dancing wildly across grand tapestries and gilded walls, as the chaos of the attack surged like wildfire through the silent corridors. Smoke curled into the opulent halls, its acrid scent mingling with the lingering fragrance of jasmine and cardamom, an eerie reminder of the delivery girl who had become the center of a storm no one saw coming. The billionaire Sheikh stood at the heart of the tempest, his figure a stark silhouette against the roaring firelight. His eyes, dark and unyielding, burned with a fierce blend of anger and desperation as he issued commands with the precision of a general in battle. Yet beneath the controlled fury lay an unsettled storm of doubt, a fragile fissure in his normally impenetrable fortress of pride. "Hold the gates. No one gets in or out without my word," he barked, his voice cutting through the clamor like a whip. Each step he took echoed like thunder across the marble floors, his silks rustling with the weight of his regality and unease. Farid approached cautiously, urgency etched in every line of his face. "My Sheikh, this assault is no mere coincidence. The messengers in the city whisper of shadows within our own walls, traitors cloaked as allies. The parcel, it is a key that unlocks more than secrets." The Sheikh's clenched. Fists trembled slightly before he masked the betrayal he felt with a cold, biting glare. "Then we purge these serpents hidden in the garden. Bring her to me, the delivery girl, the one who dared defy me. She is the thread that will unravel this web. As the guards disappeared into the smoke-choked labyrinth of halls, the Sheikh lingered beside the marble pedestal, where the worn parcel had lain untouched since her departure. His fingers hovered just above it before pulling back, a hesitation born not out of fear, but the painful recognition that to open it was to unravel years of carefully veiled truth. Suddenly, the great doors creaked open and she entered, her presence a stark contrast to the chaos outside. The delivery girl moved with a quiet strength, dust from the desert still clinging to her simple garments, her eyes steady and piercing in the flickering light. "I did not come to be a pawn in your games," she said softly, voice low but infused with unyielding steel. "The parcel is only the doorway. There are forces at work here, ancient and brutal, that bind your fate to mine." The Sheikh's gaze locked onto her, a tumult of emotions raging within. For all his power, all the kingdoms he commanded, here stood a woman who held secrets capable of toppling his empire and perhaps healing the fractures in his soul. "Why should I trust you?" he demanded, voice graveling with bitter pride and raw curiosity. "Why reveal truths when you carry defiance like a blade?" "Because, my Sheikh," she whispered, stepping closer, the scent of cardamom thickening the charged air. Between them, "You are not the king your throne demands, but the man you hide beneath the silk and gold. And that man, broken, lost, is the only reason there is hope." For a moment, silence swallowed the room, broken only by the distant roar of flames and the clashing of steel. The delivery girl reached into the folds of her cloak and produced a small, worn journal, its leather creased from time and travel. "Inside are the words of your grandfather," she continued. "He foresaw the darkness that would seek to consume your legacy, wrote warnings, clues, and the key to survival. The parcel and this journal are parts of the same truth. To protect your people, you must understand the curse that stains your bloodline." The Sheikh's fingers trembled as they traced the delicate cover. His eyes flicked over the cryptic script, maps marking deserts long forgotten, and symbols promising secrets buried beneath shifting sands. "And yet," she added, gaze sharp as desert glass, "the greatest danger is not the enemy outside, but loyalty twisted into betrayal within." A flicker of pain crossed his face, memories crashing like thunder, trusted faces twisted by greed and envy. His chest tightened as the walls of his heart, so long sealed behind arrogance, threatened to crumble. Suddenly, the palace shuddered again as distant screams pierced the night. The guards' desperate shouts grew louder. The battle was far from over. Yet the Sheikh felt his world narrow to the space between himself and the delivery girl, the fragile journal searing with destiny in his grasp. "Tell me everything," he commanded, voice hoarse but resolute. "Every secret, every shadow. I will face this storm, no matter what it costs." Her eyes softened momentarily, revealing a vulnerability hidden beneath her courage. "Then prepare yourself, my Sheikh. The truth you seek will cut deeper than any blade, and the alliance we forge will be tested by fire." The distant explosion shook the palace again, but in that charged moment, the fire between them was less a threat and more a fragile promise. As the moon dipped behind the desert horizon, the air thickened with a silent warning, a whisper of voices long dead, secrets too dangerous to reveal. And deep within the heart of the palace, a shadow stirred, eyes gleaming with cold ambition, watched the unfolding reckoning, a smile curling with malice. For the true enemy wore the mask of loyalty, and the billionaire Sheikh's greatest betrayal was still concealed in the silence of his own blood. The acrid scent of smoke and charred wood clung to the vast hall, mingling with the lingering fragrance of jasmine and cardamom that seemed impossibly intertwined with the chaos of the night. The fire had been quelled, but its scars remained. Blackened walls, shattered crystal, and the heavy silence of a palace that had just endured an assault far more than physical. The billionaire Sheikh stood at the center of the destruction, his silhouette carved in shadow and moonlight. His deep eyes, once fire and defiance, now held the weight of exhaustion and a storm barely contained beneath the surface. The worn journal rested heavily in his hands, its secrets pressing against his skin like a living thing. Around him, servants hurried quietly, their faces etched with fear and uncertainty. But nothing could distract the Sheikh from the woman who stepped into the moonlit chamber, a figure no less steady despite the night's havoc. The delivery girl, dust still faint on her garments, her eyes sharp as desert stars, approached without hesitation. "I warned you," she said softly, voice threaded with iron beneath gentleness. "This is no random attack. Those who want you weak already move among your own blood." He studied her, the thrum of betrayal echoing in his chest, deeper than any blade or flame. "You speak in riddles, yet stand unwavering. Why? What do you want from me?" Her gaze dropped briefly before locking back onto his, raw and unguarded. "To save you, from the empire's ruin, from the throne's poison, from yourself." Most of all, the Sheikh's jaw clenched as the journals felt like chains in his grasp. "And do you think I can be saved by a stranger's cryptic warnings? By a girl who defies me with hidden knowledge?" She stepped closer, the air between them thick with unspoken truths. "I am no longer a stranger. I am your reckoning, my Sheikh. The truth sewn into your past, into your bloodline, demands you listen." He swallowed hard. The gulf between them was narrower now, charged with a fragile tension that neither commands nor riches could bridge. "Show me," he said, voice cracked but resolute. "Show me the path before my empire falls to ashes." Slowly, she opened the journal to a brittle page, revealing an ancient map marked with a faded, intricate symbol, a serpent entwined around a crescent moon. The symbol echoed in his memory, haunting and elusive. "Your grandfather left warnings, not just of enemies beyond, but of the traitor within," she whispered. "This," her finger traced the fragile parchment, "is a key to unmasking them, but it also carries a curse." A bitter laugh escaped the Sheikh, edged with pain. "A curse I have lived with every day beneath this crown." Her eyes softened, understanding flickering beneath her defiance. "It is said that only one who embraces the darkness within can extinguish it." His fingers trembled as he closed the journal, the weight of legacy and loss crushing. "Tell me everything," he demanded, the fire of a warrior rising again. "Every secret, every betrayal. Nothing can remain hidden anymore." Before she could answer, Farid's sudden entrance shattered the fragile moment. His expression was grim, eyes darting with urgent news. "My Sheikh, scouts report movement near the southern border, a new wave of threats. And there is word that the traitor acts within the palace walls more openly. We cannot trust anyone." The Sheikh's dark gaze sharpened to blades. "Then the siege has only begun." He turned back to the delivery girl, resolve blazing like a desert sun breaking through storm clouds. "I will face this war on all fronts, but I will need every truth you carry, every secret written in that journal. We fight not just to save a kingdom, but to reclaim who I am beneath this crown." Her lips curved into the smallest of smiles, a flicker of hope amid ruin. "And I will stand by you, not as a servant, but as an ally who sees the man you refuse to show the world." Their eyes met, a silent vow trembling in the heavy air. The palace doors trembled under a fresh assault, footsteps and shouts echoing like thunder. Outside, shadows converged, and the desert night shivered with impending violence. As the Sheikh rose, the fragile bond between them hardened into steel. But in the depths of the shattered palace, a hidden figure watched from the shadows, face veiled, eyes gleaming with cold satisfaction. A whisper swept through the cracked marble walls. "Let the Sheikh chase ghosts while true power rises unchecked." The delivery girl's warning, the journal's truths, the traitor's shadow, none were mere perils, but pieces of a trap closing in. And as the storm outside roared louder, the billionaire Sheikh found himself standing at the edge of a precipice where loyalty would fracture, love would be tested, and the very roots of his empire might crumble forever. His hand clenched into a fist, sweat mingling with dust beneath his regal silk. "This ends soon," he vowed, voice raw with determination. "But the question is, who will still stand when the desert finally claims its secrets?" The scent of jasmine lingered faintly in the air, a delicate reminder of the delivery girl's presence and the fragile hope she carried like a flame in the gathering dark. Outside, the endless dunes whispered ancient tales of betrayal and redemption, and the night waited, watchful, for what would come next. The first light of dawn painted the emirate in gentle hues of gold and rose, casting a fragile peace over a palace still marked by fire and shadow. The chaos of the previous night had faded into a solemn silence, broken only by the whispered stirrings of a new beginning. The billionaire Sheikh stood by the great windows of his private chamber, the worn journal resting on the ornate desk beside him, its secrets no longer mysteries, but keys forged into his very soul. His gaze wandered over the vast desert beyond the palace walls, where endless dunes shimmered softly under the awakening sun. The quiet was humbling, a stark contrast to the storm that had raged within these halls just hours before. He inhaled deeply, the scent of jasmine and cardamom still lingering in the air, a reminder of the delivery girl who had shattered his fortress of pride and opened a doorway to truth. She entered without a sound, her presence calm yet empowering. Her eyes met his with a tenderness born of shared trials and hard-won trust. No longer a mere shadow moving through his world, she stood beside him as an equal, a companion who had ignited a light in the deepest corridors of his heart. "The journal's warnings were severe," he said quietly, voice touched with the weight of revelation. "But your courage unraveled the lies entrenched in my bloodline." She smiled softly. "It was your will to face the darkness that made the difference. A throne built by secrets is weak until the truth is embraced." He stepped closer, the warmth between them growing like the sun itself. "I was lost in my empire of gold and silence. You showed me how to break its chains, to be not the king they expect, but the man I long to be." Her hand found his, fingers intertwining with a steady strength that anchored his wavering spirit. Together they turned to open the carved box, now a symbol not of mystery, but of hope. Inside lay artifacts, letters, relics, and tokens from ancestors who had fought to protect a legacy that transcended power and wealth. Outside the palace, courtiers and guards gathered in hushed awe. News of the knight's betrayal and the Sheikh's resolute stand had spread quickly, turning suspicion into unity. The traitor, revealed through their courage, had fled, broken and exposed, leaving the empire's heart to beat strong once more. From the grand hall, the Sheikh's voice soared, commanding but renewed with genuine conviction. "Our strength lies not in gold or walls, but in the bonds we forge through truth and loyalty. Let this be the dawn of a new era, one where shadows give way to light." A gentle murmur rippled through the assembled guests, faces once clouded with doubt, now shining with hope. Among them, the delivery girl's presence was no longer a secret, but a beacon, her humble origins eclipsed by the fierce spirit that had saved a kingdom. Days stretched into weeks, and the palace transformed along with its ruler. Gardens bloomed where fires had once scarred the earth. Fountains sang beneath the open sky, and laughter returned to halls that had known only tension and silence. The Sheikh and the delivery girl, now his equal, his companion, walked these paths side by side, their smiles carrying the promise of healing and renewal. In the quiet moments, away from courtly duties, he would reach for her hand, the simple touch grounding the man he had become. In her eyes, he found the courage to lay down the heavy mantle of arrogance and embrace a future forged by love and honesty. On a serene evening, beneath a canopy of stars, the Sheikh knelt upon the soft sands beside the vast desert, a ring gleaming in the firelight. His voice, steady and filled with reverence, carried across the night, as he asked not for a title, but for a lifetime. "Will you walk beside me as a servant, nor a whisper in the shadows, but as the queen of my heart?" Her answer was a radiant smile, eyes shining with tears of joy and unwavering devotion. "Always." The desert breeze kissed their faces, carrying away the remnants of an old world and heralding the birth of a new legacy, one built not on betrayal and fear, but on trust, redemption, and a love that promised to endure beyond the endless sands. Inside the palace, the first rays of sunlight touched the gilded throne, no longer a symbol of isolation, but a testament to the power of truth and the strength found in surrendering pride. The billionaire sheikh stood tall, transformed, not by wealth or conquest, but by the woman who had dared to defy him, and in doing so, had saved them both. Their story, written in the sands of time, was complete. A tale of broken walls rebuilt by forgiveness, a kingdom of hearts united beyond gold, and a love fierce enough to conquer even the deepest desert silence.